Alright, in this lesson, we're going to focus on what a verb is in the English sentence. So what is a verb? Well, a verb is basically just used to describe some action or some state of being, some occurrence, okay? The verb is going to be the main part of your predicate, right? Remember we talked about predicate and subject. So the verb is the main part of the predicate. If you remember this sentence, the dog runs down the street, right? Runs down the street was the predicate, and the predicate starts with this verb, which is runs. It runs is the verb. This is the action that our subject, the dog, is doing. So, what kind of verbs do we have? Well, verbs can take place in different time periods. Okay, they tell us when the action happens in different time periods. So in the past time, the present time, or the future time. Okay, so we have past, present, future tense, you would call it. And there are specific rules for each, and this is not a grammar course, so I'm not going to spend too much time going over the specific rules. If you're curious about the rules, you can check out our other grammar course, our full grammar course, and we'll teach you all of the ways to use the verb tenses. But here is just a quick overview. Okay, so for the past tense, basically what you're going to do is you're going to add ed to the end of the verb. Okay, so if you see here, our verb is to talk. Okay, this is its base form. It's infinitive form, to talk. But when we change it, we add things to the end. So talked is the past tense, we add ed. Okay, for the present tense, either you'll use the verb just as it is, right? Okay, so here talk, or you'll add s or es. So either unchanged or you add s or es. We have talks or talk. And for the future, it's very easy. All you're going to do is add the word will. Okay, so will talk. And these are just the simple past, present, and future verb tense. There are other types of past, present, and future tenses, but those are a little more complicated. And right now we're just focusing on what a verb is and where it belongs in the sentence. So what kind of verbs do we have? Well, we have action verbs. Okay? These verbs have many uses, and an action verb is just something that shows an action: running, jumping, swimming, eating. It tells us what the subject is doing. So again, this sentence, the dog runs down the street. Run is an action. It is an action verb. It's what the dog is doing. The dog is running. We have other types of verbs, helping verbs, modal verbs, and many more types of verbs. For example, helping verbs. Okay? You can see here, she is standing on the table. Here is our helping verb, right? We have two verbs here. Is a helping verb that is helping this verb standing, which is our main verb. So we can join more than one verb together like this. Okay? Modal verbs. Here we have modal verbs. These give information about possibility. He could fly in the morning. Okay, so here could is our modal verb, and fly is a main verb. It's an action verb. So again, we're joining two types of verbs together. He could fly in the morning. Okay, but again, the sentence, right? What we're focusing on is structure of sentence. He is our subject. Could fly is the beginning of our predicate. Okay, and this is our predicate here. And again, this is just a few of the forms verbs can take. Okay, if you aren't sure about verbs and the different types, I really hope that you also watch the grammar course and learn in depth about verbs. So let's look at some examples. Right? The cat licks his paws. Licks is the main verb. Right, here we go. The cat is licking his paws. Okay, so here what do you see? You see two verbs, is and licking, right? If you remember, is the helping verb, where licking will be the main verb. And when you're looking at these sentences, try to pick out information that we already learned about. For example, the subject, okay, or the object here. These are nouns, right? We learned about these. Okay, here we have the cat could lick his paws. And if you remember, could is one of those verbs we call the modal verb, and lick is our main verb. Here we have exercises, okay? These are for you to do first. So take what we learned in this lesson, read the sentence, and figure out if you see a verb, okay, if you can identify what type of verb it is, go ahead and pause the video. All right, so hopefully you got 8 is the main verb. Here we have the bear could be in the cave. So again, I want you to pause the video, try to figure out what is the verb in this sentence, or verbs if there's more than one. And here we have could be, where could is one of those modal verbs, and be is going to be our main verb. Here we have, she is dancing on the table. Okay, so this is for you to figure out, so go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out what the verb is. Okay, and we have is dancing. So is one of those helping verbs, while dancing is going to be our main verb.